Hi, everyone. This is a demo of Photoshop brushes, an introduction to Photoshop brushes and how to create a brush within Photoshop. So I'm going to go to Photoshop and make a new document. And I already have some palettes up, you can see. So right now, the palettes that I have up are color and swatches, and then history and layers, which I almost always have. And then I added brush settings and brushes in tabs to the bottom group so that you could see it. And those are to be found under window, of course, where all the palettes are. So brushes and brush settings come together. They usually open together. So you're going to need both because the brush settings are how you create new brushes. This is brush settings. And brushes are your library, basically. So you can import brushes, you can import other brushes, you can even import brushes that other people have created on the internet. People are always sharing brushes. So browse through some of your brushes and just take a look at what's available. They are not at all like the brushes in Illustrator because they are not stroking vector paths. They are little clusters of pixels that are stuck together as you paint and not easy to pull apart later. If you've painted something, it becomes part of the layer that you're painting on. So again, impossible to delete the way you would easily delete things in Illustrator. So be mindful of that. I'm going to show you the brushes and how they work then. So going into brush settings, I've changed some things. So I'm going to go back to my default settings and take the spacing down to 1 and make the size moderate. And I'm going to go to a hard brush, a hard normal brush. Up on the control bar, you can see that there are also settings for that brush on the top left. So it tells you what brush you have and what size it is. And it shows you a preview. And then the mode that you're painting in and the opacity, which is so important in painting. So then how do you make a brush larger and smaller? Well, I use the keyboard, the forwards and backwards bracket a great deal. I've already shown you that, I think, in some other demos. So when I paint with this brush, and right now I'm using my mouse because my Wacom pen and tablet lag a little when I'm in Zoom. So I'm just going to show you with my mouse. Notice that it makes one long stroke where all the dabs are joined together. When you just click down or dab down with here now I'm on my Wacom and I can do dabs with that, you'll see that you just get round circles because that's what one click of this brush looks like. If you change the spacing, and I'm in my brush settings now where you can change the brush and make new brushes, taking off from any of these presets or brush settings up here. So I changed the spacing. When you paint with the brush, and we'll just try this with my Wacom and see how bad it is. Yeah, it's lagging. So I'm going to use my mouse, except later when I show you the pressure sensitivity of the Wacom. It doesn't lag when I'm not in Zoom. So Zoom is what's making it. Okay, so that is the brush when I've changed the spacing. Every brush is like this. If I chose another brush shape where the tip shape was quite different, let's say a fan brush. If I was to take the spacing down, it paints like one long stroke. And I will make it bigger so that you can see that one long stroke and what it looks like. So you can see the marks in the stroke. It's a bristle brush, so it has fewer bristles as a round brush because they look like fans like that. Especially this one, which is, I think, a fan brush, yes. So when I take the spacing up, you will see what the individual dabs look like. I call them dabs. So notice it's quite different. It looks like a bunch of dabs put together, dot, 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 like that. So quite different than a hard round brush. So now you can try that with any brush. Just try having it close together and then far apart. So with this new brush I'm showing you, here's close together and here's far apart. Quite different. So one of the good things is that you can build up brush strokes, and that works to establish areas of texture and also in rendering and shading objects on your image. So now I'm going to show you how to do a scatter brush and what some of the parameters are that you can change. So I'm going to go into layers and make a new layer to show you. And I'm going to now show you how to make a scatter brush. So I'll scroll down through my library and I'll find something that would look really good as a scatter brush. There was something that I was on a little while ago that I really liked as a scatter brush. Yeah, feather. I really like this as a scatter brush. I was using it a little while ago. So when I use it as a single mark, it looks like that. And I can make it even bigger so that you can see this, that. Now the resolution is a little off, that. Okay, so when I change the spacing, it becomes more solid, of course. Right now, that's the spacing. So let's say you decide that we're right on the brush tip shape. So we want to now change the shape dynamics. So double click on the term shape dynamics. I'm in brush settings, and you'll notice there are a lot of things that you can change. The size jitter, you can make it different sizes when it paints. Jitter is a good thing. It means randomness. And in painting, that's a good thing, especially digital painting. It's especially good thing because it means that you will achieve a feeling of naturalness. It's more natural when you have a jitter or a randomness to your brush mark. Otherwise, it looks like a machine. So you can change all sorts of things. The angle jitter, roundness doesn't make sense with this brush, but you could flip it on the y-axis sometimes. Or I meant the x-axis. Yeah. So that would look better too if it was jittering that way. And then the size jitter. I think I want it to have more of a size jitter, meaning that it's sometimes big and sometimes small as it moves. It also helps when you paint with the Wacom, and I will try to show you that right now, but I'm not sure that I can control it enough with the lag that it's showing. But let me try. So it gives you a preview. You notice at the bottom of the brush settings, there's a preview so you can see what you've created. Also, before I try with the Wacom, remember that you should save your new brush, and you can call it something, veining feather, and I'm going to call it JK. Those are my initials. Or maybe you want to put the date if you're going to be creating a lot of new brushes. So just say 10, whatever the date is today. I think it's the 8th or the 9th. So 10/9, and I'm going to say okay. And then when you go into your brushes, you should be able to find that. So here's the one that I just created. So let me make a new layer, and I will try to show you now what it looks like when I work with the Wacom instead of the mouse. So if I go into and do the scatter brush with a very light touch, very, very light, it should actually look a bit different, but it's floating, it's lagging so much. Then when I go in and push and press down very, very hard, it should give you, no, I'm having trouble controlling it because the Wacom there is where this brush is not really responding to pressure sensitivity too well, although I'm pretty sure I have it on. So usually it does. There were some brushes that really showed the pressure sensitivity. I created one earlier. We could try it with something like, there was one hard round, or try it with something like chalk, and I might be able to show you the pressure sensitivity. But because it's not responding to, it's just lagging so much, I'm not sure what I can do that way. But here's with me touching down very, very lightly, and then with much more pressure. It just keeps floating. So there are the two, light and with much more pressure. So it really, really helps to have a Hoyen or a Wacom tablet, drawing or painting. They call them drawing and painting tablets, digital. And if you can get a hold of one, even if it's a little one, that's fine. So thank you. I hope this introduced you to brushes satisfactorily.